Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dexter. Or to my friends, Dex. Can I ask, first of all, how many of you have seen me present before? Okay, a few of you, so I can still tell the same jokes, if that's okay. We have quite a short period, because obviously the most important part of this is networking. So can I just ask you a couple of questions? What is this glass? What's in this glass? Half full. How many have said half empty? How many have said half full? Okay, vast majority. To me, it's a glass with water, because I'm a realist. And the realistic situation of the present moment is that influence and persuasion and communication is absolutely key. How many of you are involved on social networking? Okay, the vast majority of us. LinkedIn, yeah, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Okay, do you know, I have a problem with this, and having said that, hands up here, I am involved in all of those areas. I suppose today, this next 10 minutes or so, is about offering some hints and tips to you, things that I have found useful that I hope you will find useful. And it's come out of my work with QVC, the shopping channel. Has anybody ever bought from QVC? Oh, a few of you have. Have you had to send it back? Thank God for that, okay. So for about 16 years, I was the chief trainer for QVC, working with the guest presenters. Obviously, I had a good relationship with the presenters themselves, but it's the guest presenters. And I used to present myself in front of the camera. And what I learned, and I hope this resonates with you, the key for us to create relationships and be influential and persuasive is to develop trust. Would we agree with that? Yeah. Do you know, it's the one thing for me in society today that is lacking. In every area of society, we have been let down. So if we are to be influential and persuasive, the first thing we need to do is create trust. And the thing that I learned from QVC, and this is how this book has come about, the Moscow Method. Yeah, it's TWI, isn't it? It's my name. But it is an acronym. So MOSCOW. I had trouble spelling my own name there, isn't that terrible? Each element of it is something that you need to include in a presentation. And what a pretty sound. So I'd like to make a proposition to you right up front. The key to your personal, financial, and company success is in your ability to positively influence others, to be delighted to take the action you desire them to take. Now, the only way you can do this is by actually face-to-face communication. I asked that question about social networking. For me, and it is my opinion, but I believe it is born out of fact, and in fact, Richard Branson has written a long article about face-to-face communication. The pendulum is swinging back. It is no longer enough just to be represented on those social media. You've got to get out and meet people. You've got to be able to find out what their needs are. And I thank a number of people who I've managed to have a conversation with, asking what would be most beneficial for them out of this conversation. And the thing that is, I suppose, the theme that is running through that is about how do we maintain relationships? How do we connect with people? I won't mention his name, but one particular individual that I spoke to admitted that he talks too much. In any situation where we need to influence and persuade people, hint and tip, there is a 70-30 rule. 70%, 30%. Any idea what that is? Has anybody heard of the 70-30 rule? I've got a nodding head here. What do you understand by 70-30?
I think 30% you're talking to should be the 70% and 30% because you should be listening to what
Yes,
they're saying.
exactly right. So if we find in any conversation that we're doing most of the talking, then we're not really listening and we're not finding out what that individual need is. In a networking situation, and I applaud networking, and I applaud networking for two reasons. First of all, that you can find out if it is worthwhile working with people using that 70% rule, 70-30. Our 30% is asking deeper and better questions. But I'm going to suggest this to you, and this is the reason for the book. Don't stand where you are, stand where I am. Create a compelling presentation. Because, and this is the reality check. People hate being sold to. Do we hate being sold to? Yeah. We do. We like to be communicated with. I have spent a fortune networking. I have spent valuable time speaking to people who are never going to do business with me, and certainly aren't going to recommend me to anybody else. And I've drunk a tsunami of coffee, tea, water. So don't make the same mistakes I've made. Instead of working the room, command the room. Because when you have a group of people like you have here, by taking center stage, by understanding what those needs are, and that means talking to people, not just emailing, that means talking to people to find out what those needs are, you will find you're going to be much more productive. So that's the key. Positively influence others by finding out what their desire is. So, let me offer a couple of other suggestions. It's not enough to be excellent at what you do. You have to be master communicators. You have to be able to know what questions to ask in that 70-30 rule. You have to be able to tell people not what you do, but what you have done for others. So, has anybody heard of a guy by the name of Simon Sinek? Yeah? Has anybody read his book? Yeah. Start with Why. What do you reckon of that?
That's great. It's all about what your motivation is, why you do it.
Yeah. So, he says this. If I can turn the page. Start with why. Why do you do what you do? Why do I do what I do? Why do I work with major companies and smaller organizations? Because for me, when I see that light bulb moment, when I see a nodding head saying, I get it, I understand it, that for me is my motivation. This is why, with all my grey hairs and a few years, that's why I keep on doing what I'm doing. So start with the why. Why do you do what you do? Why should you motivate people? Then you can start talking about what you do and how you do it. So often, a presentation, a discussion, anything that is a selling situation starts with how, or actually what I do, and then how I do it. Start with why. So if there's only one thing, and I'm selling somebody else's bloody book here, this is not right, is it? So start with that. Think about, if you don't know why you do it, ask your clients, ask your customers, why do they work with you? We have a number, in fact I spoke to Becky about PR. PR is no longer about getting press releases, it's about reputation management. It's about understanding what your clients are saying about you that you then can put into an article. So that's so important. If that's the one thing that we get out of today, it's understanding why we do what we do, what we have done for others, and how we can influence and persuade people in that way. Now, the other element I would like to discuss with you very briefly is why do people buy things? If I were to, and I don't have time to write them down, but throw a few words at me about why you think, why do you buy things, and why do the people you know buy things? Throw some words at me.
Need and want.
Need and want. What else?
Emotions.
Emotion. What else?
Necessity.
Necessity.
Status.
Status. People buy people first, and certainly that relates to trust. The word has actually already come out. People buy emotionally, they decide logically. So you have to tap into the emotional element first of all. You have to understand what their need is. And in terms of a networking situation, it saves us time. If when we work the room, if when we speak to people and we immediately start pitching what we're doing, then you're wasting time. How do you know that the person standing in front of you really has any need for you? So by asking those questions, you immediately find out whether it's worthwhile spending time with them, or you grab them by the hand and say, I've got somebody I'd like you to chat to. That's clever networking. That is the ability to understand and maximize your time. So if you find yourself talking too much, 70-30 rule. If you are talking to somebody about your products, your services, and how wonderful you are, shut up. Because it is about why you do it. People buy emotionally, they decide logically. I think that really is about all we have time for today. So are there any very quick questions? And then you can start what you're here for, is to do more networking.
Anyone?
I've frightened everybody. I'm at the back of the room. I will be here until midday when we go. There are books available. I hate pitching books, but if you are the kind of person that says, I don't think I can ever make a presentation, I'm so full of fear that the words will not come out right, then even look at the first chapter, mindset. That's the M. Because if you are thinking, I'm going to make a fool of myself, that's the wrong mindset. If you're thinking, can I give information that is of value to people, that's the right mindset. And I hope I've done that for you today. Thank you.